Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
This is how it's gonna be done. Set fire. Gonna end the game. Set fire. Gonna make a name. Set fire. Oh, you'll remember this. I'm not gonna miss, 'cause I deserve this. Whoa, oh, oh, yeah, yeah. 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 Victory.
Good evening, race fans, on a beautiful Friday evening here for the Ratfink Racing League Godsby Arca Series. Just getting set to take the green flag on tonight's race. It's going to be a wild and fun one. I think that we will see out of these drivers tonight. We are going to see if Jonathan Burt can collect another win on the season. He got his 5th last week, trying to get win number 6 here tonight. But before no further ado, let me go ahead and introduce you to myself. I'm Oscar Jensen, joined by Cameron Gawley here with Turn Sector Media. Cameron, I know you like to try and hop in these cars and get a good read before the race. What do you expect out of these drivers tonight?
Oh, it's going to be super exciting tonight, Oscar. I mean, I ran a good 20 laps in the practice session, and you can find any line with this. The progressive banking at Homestead is always brings out some really exciting, good racing. You want to run the bottom, save your tires, run the top, get a lot of speed. Our pit window is probably looking to be about like 39 to 45 laps on fuel, depending on the line you're running. And I will also say this, you're redlining into turns 2, 1, and 3.
All right, well, sooner or later, let's go ahead and go down tonight's starting lineup.
Grab and pull his first Godsby pole is Carlos Acosta, and Tommy Wynn will start from outside. Row number 2, we got Sam Boutwell and Todd Perrant. Row number 3, we got last week's winner and points leader Jonathan Burt starting alongside Robert Walton. Row number 4, we got Ryan Godfrey with Mr. Mark Holloway. Row number 5, we got Clover Shepard and Judson Curtis, a latecomer into the session tonight. Row number 6, we got always fast Jordan Tross and Tom Ringer. Row number 7, we got David Bersecki and Chuck Burley. Row number 8, we got Brian Sousa and Mr. White Lightning, Victor Etheridge. And starting shotgun on the field, we got Mr. Brandon Hinton.
So 17 drivers will look to take the green flag here tonight as we work ourselves off of turn number 4. Cameron, let's go racing from Homestead-Miami Speedway.
Yeah, Carlos Acosta gets a really good jump at the start. Sam Boutwell followed behind. Tommy Wendell will have the advantage on that outside line for speed. Todd Perron sitting on the inside. We got Jonathan Bird on the inside of Robert Walton there. Probably will clear him out of turn 2. And we'll see if the draft will actually be a pretty good factor. And yeah, Tommy Wynn is already slipped back to 3rd already. Boutwell's also chilling about right there. As we look back at Ryan Godfrey, also battling with Robert Walton for that 6th position.
Little craziness on this restart, Cam. Some 2-3 wide action. You already see some guys going up against that wall. That's Todd Perron, like you mentioned a few moments ago. He finds himself way up against that outside wall as they went into 1 and 2, and he gets a good run down the back straightaway. He's got Jonathan Burt behind him again, collecting win number 5 on this season. Last week at Phoenix Raceway, he looks to collect another one here tonight, currently in that 4th position.
Oh, and Carlos Acosta got black flag, I think, on the start. And a costly mistake there early on. Oh, and he messed up on pit entry and spun a little bit. Very costly mistakes right here for Carlos Acosta early on, but thankfully it's only lap 3. We still got 132 laps to go. He could still possibly make some of it up if we get a caution here somewhere and he could get back on the lead lap, but we won't know until we get that damage looked at. As we already see, though, Jordan Tross moving up a couple of spots. Victor Etheridge is already up 6 spots from his start, and they're all hanging around in that 7 through 10 spot, just battling it out right there, along with Clover Shepard.
Judson Curtis getting a good run to the inside of Mark Holloway right there as they came through 1 and 2. Judson Curtis able to take that spot for a moment, but Mark has a fight on the outside. Will he be able to maintain it off of 4? Does not look like it. So Judson Curtis will slide into that 7th position and put Mark Holloway back to 8th. And then, like you mentioned, Jordan right behind him. He looks to kind of just ride around and start to pick up these guys one by one. But further up at the front, boy, we got a race for the race lead. Tommy Wynn going for 2nd, had a shot there in 1 and 2 to the bottom side, lost the momentum, but he has a strong run building up here early in tonight's race.
Yeah, and he's going to be taking that low line. We'll have some various people taking various strategies tonight. We'll probably see quite a few people as we ride on board with Tommy Wynn, like just riding that lower line, saving some tire maybe for later on to have a better run later in the pit cycle. And as we see Carlos Acosta come back from his pit penalty, down 3 laps already, a very costly mistake for him early on. As we see Todd Perron just riding up high, and we got a pretty good momentum building up back here. Could be 3 wide going in onto the front stretch into 1. Godfrey getting an advantage there over Walton as they go past the lap to Costa. Sorry, I had to gather my breath there, but
no, you're good. And, we mentioned Todd Perron there, and we saw him running the high side a few laps ago there, making it work again right there in 1 and 2. Had a really good run to get a little bit further of a gap built between himself and Tommy Wynn right behind him. And again, you see him running that high side in 1 and 2. But Cam, there is some downsides to running that high side, and you don't want to overstep the boundary and get yourself into the wall, because this outside wall will definitely grab you, and it's really difficult to get off of it once you've gotten on it. But as well, maybe pushing that right front a bit more if you're not running it correctly. So, there's a couple different things that you have to watch out for when you're running that high side, especially early on.
Yeah, and another factor is also like running the high side. especially out of 4, you're almost hitting red line right at the start-finish line based on my little bit of testing that I did here. And a lot of them will prefer to run the bottom, and it will save you quite a bit of fuel, up to possibly about 3 laps worth of fuel if you're running the bottom compared to the top, which could play a big factor as we get later in this race if we run fairly clean and caution-free. As we see him look back, and Victor Etheridge challenging Mark Holloway right there for that 9th spot. Victor already getting a really good start here along with Brian Sousa. Both of them are up 7 positions from their starting spots.
Yeah, good run by both those drivers behind, back up towards the front. The race lead kind of where it's been at by about half a second. Perron has not really been able to close too much. Tommy Wynn now having his hands full with the 11 of Jonathan Burt, who's going to, or sorry, that's the lap car. Carlos, I believe that is, yeah, that is the lap car. So never mind. Tommy Wynn not having pressure from behind. He's just right now chilling in third. Jonathan Burt, though, he will have a little bit of a challenge here if he continues the pace that he's been running from the 88 behind of Ryan Godfrey. So Burt, you know, I think he's just kind of trying to maintain his pace right now. I mean, he knows that he has a fast race car and that he has a chance each week to win these races. He just wants to be able to be there at the end of these things, which with 135 laps in total on the distance, it gives you a lot of time to really think. And boy, you see a 3-wide move there from the top of Jordan Tross.
Yeah, Jordan really making that high side work, getting past his teammate Victor Etheridge, and going to start looking at putting a challenge on Robert Walton there for that 6th spot. He started near the back of the pack tonight. He said he wanted to have a little fun before the race. Brian Sousa also back there behind him, not letting him get too far, with Brandon Hinton also moving up quite a bit from his starting spot as they're going 3 wide into 1. And you can just, and it'll be pretty tight here coming out of turn 2. And you can see the massive run that Brian Sousa here is getting out of there for running the high side. He'll choose the middle this time. Tross will have that run on the high side. And Sousa kind of making a little bit of a diamond line out of 4, just diving it low. Ooh, getting really tight there with White Lightning, and then just braking a little later to keep it up near that wall. Ooh, contacts it a little bit, but I don't think it'll slow him down too much.
Yeah, Victor trying to slide up and get in front of the 60 there that time. By on the front straightaway, was just not able to make it stick. Maybe another inch or a half a millimeter sooner he would have made that stick, but unfortunately got the call that the 60 was to his outside and stopped doing what he wanted to probably do, and that was get up in front of him. But you know, you see Brian Sousa right there running the top side again after having that moment a lap ago. He looks to gain a lot of momentum here down the back straightaway, helping the 57 of Walton out into 3 and 4. And boy, it was a little bit of a traffic jam right there for a moment as they continue to battle it out for about the 8th to 9th and 10th position.
Yeah, I think everybody's just trying to get shuffled into place and start running their own race here. This is a real hornet's nest back here. I think the top 5 are just happy that it's strung out there and it's not wild. Ooh, we see Victor Etheridge get a little loose and contact the wall with the right rear a little bit. And Brandon Hinton just also keeping a decent pace there as he's looking to make his way around Mark Holloway. And Brian Sousa is going to start working over Robert Walton some. He's been getting some pretty good runs off of turn 2 there on the backstretch, but it wasn't matching the same in 3 and 4. And as we're looking up towards the front, Tommy Wynn finally got his way around Todd Perron to grab that P2 spot and is going to try and put Boutwell in his crosshairs and hunt him down to possibly get a crucial bonus point and lead a lap.
Yeah, Tommy Wynn with a great last couple of corners, able to get that run on Todd Perron and make that move. And boy, now he's put a bit of a gap between him and Perron behind, separated by about 3 to 4 car lengths as they work themselves into 1 and 2. Now the question is, does Tommy Wynn have enough speed to go up there and catch that 51 who has been up at the front since the start of the green flag. Looks like lap-wise he's pretty quick, a little bit quicker that last lap. It's just gonna be on if he can keep these lap times stuck together. And Todd Perron, I mean, he hasn't really fallen back too far away either. So if Todd can get maybe a little something out there, he could try and make a challenge once again for second.
I also wanted to point out that Tom Rager there with the fastest lap right now. Yes, it is already making some really fast circuits around this track at the current time. But I will also mention Sam Boutwell's teammate Carlos Acosta. He might be 3 laps down, but he's up there and could possibly help him get a little bit of an advantage. Maybe get a little bit of a toe off of get some draft off of him and be a little bit faster. But I don't think they have reached and made contact enough yet to be able to have that. As we look back into the field, and we see Chuck Burley making his way around Robert Walton, and Burley's having a pretty good run, making his way into the top 10. Brandon Hinton not too far behind, looking to possibly get around, as we also see him battling with David Bersecki, who's also wanting to put a good top 10 performance in tonight.
Yeah, Bersecki losing a bit of ground here since the start of the green flag, now sliding up in front of Mark Holloway. Mark also losing ground in these first 21 laps. So the 92 and the 56, gonna need to try and rebound here later in this run, try and make up some of that lost position since the start of the green. But as we go back a little bit further, I mean, you start to see some of these guys who maybe have a better understanding of this track and what they need to do, work themselves up through the field. Tommy Wynn right now just a bit quicker than Boutwell in that number 1 position, but it hasn't been enough to really make that big of a difference, take that gap that they do have. So he has started to pull away from Top Prompt more and more, but hasn't quite been able to close in on that 51 like he would like. But Cam, I think that's, part of the fun here at Homestead. You'll start to see guys get a chance at the start with their short run speed, but then build up towards the middle. Then that's really where you can explore on this track and try and find some more speed, maybe up towards that outside wall, or if you're comfortable having that lower line as well. So I mean, this track really brings a lot for these drivers to work with, and I think with 23 laps into this, there's probably going to be a lot more drivers that are going to either have issues or that we're starting to see make up some ground here in the next couple of laps.
Yeah, I think since we're now kind of strung out, everybody's going to start trying to find different lines, see what's fast, what's not fast. Typically around the start, I was talking with Jordan Tross earlier, and he was saying that probably a really good line would be diving down low in turns 1 and 2 to save a little bit of tire, and then run the top end 3 and 4 to really get a good run from the backstretch right back onto the front. As you can see, like once we all got strung out, everybody's starting to run the bottom. Probably looking at saving a little bit of tire, see if they have something later on in this fuel run. As we're about halfway through it, if not a little more, and we'll start to see what creativity a lot of these guys will have. Todd Perron losing another spot now to Jonathan Bird, and Judson Curtis is probably going to be looking here soon to pass him. He's going to get a really good pull off of his car with the draft there, but since you're redlining, it might not be that much. I mean, this will be a really, really momentum-based race, especially in the turns. It'll all be about how much speed you lose through those turns.
Well, 2 things that are interesting there when running on board with Judson Curtis in the 29. It did sound like he was starting to shut off that car a bit and coasting on entry. Maybe, Wynn with a bite of a bobble right there when trying to go for the race lead, able to keep it stuck together. But it sounded like Curtis was maybe trying to save a little bit of fuel. So these drivers, like you mentioned, maybe already trying to play some strategy as we see the battle for the race lead. Tommy Wynn on the bottom. Will he be able to clear? Yes, he will. So new race leader goes to the 71 of Tommy Wynn.
Yes, and he will pick up a crucial bonus point right there in his run, even though, well, it'll be good for the team runnings. Clover Shepherd is usually the regular runner for Wynn Brothers in this series. Tommy Wynn's not running these as often, but he's looking at probably running more because he's been having fun in them. But yeah, I think Boutwell probably used up his equipment a little bit early, and either that or just looking at conserving a little bit more fuel. Tommy was running a little more conservatively, possibly not going to look for a way around a Costa, or Costa might. Oh no, he'll just wait and let Tommy go by. But yeah, Boutwell is probably saving a little bit, probably playing a little bit of strategy, might get him back later on in the run. But we'll see. Judson Curtis also challenging Jonathan Burke back there. They're too wide going into turn 3.
Yeah, and the big thing is for Carlos, you don't want to have to give up that lap again and go back down to 3 laps. So, I mean, he wants to relatively remain at those 2 laps, which, you know, as a lap car, you don't want to have to fight the race leader, but you also don't want your race to be in a bigger hole than it already is. Again, having that penalty on the start and then having that slide coming on the pit road really has hurt that number 2 machine to start off this race. And with no caution so far, finding himself deep within the hole and still trying to work his way out. But we go here to the battle. Burt Curtis, that right now goes to Judson Curtis, who takes that spot away, moves himself up to 30. Maybe a little bit of an apron to hit right there as well. Doesn't affect him too much, but Wilkie's coming back behind him as well to 79.
Yeah, I was saying Jordan Tross is going to be catching up in the field, and yeah, both Jordan and Judson have both gained 7 positions now from the start. Other big movers, Brandon Hinton is now up 9 spots from the start. Brian Sousa right in front of him is up 8. There's a lot of big movers. Also, White Lightning behind them. Victor Etheridge is also up 7 spots. And Jonathan Burt just kind of holding a net neutral now, basically running where he started, just in that top 5. But everybody's kind of strung out now. Everybody's going to start running their own race here. Possibly going to be just looking for any ways to get around anyone else. Possibly pick off a couple of people before they're going to start hitting here, coming up probably in the next 10 or so laps.
And we talk about pit stops there, Cam, and we've already seen one driver have issues when trying to come to pit road. Do you think we see others struggle a bit, or do you think we'll see a majority of these guys get clean on pit road? I know one driver who had issues as well was Jordan last week at Phoenix, spinning and hitting the inside wall while trying to come down as the race leader. So we've seen some difficulties here when trying to get on pit road. Do you think we're going to see more of that here tonight?
Jordan did mention that he would rather be pitting at Dover than here, which is really saying something, but it's what he was saying was the apron transition is going to be the difficult part, especially going into 3 on pit entry. But once you get onto there and you keep it pretty straight, it should be good. People are running their brake biases a little low. A couple of them have it as low as 42%, which is quite a bit, and that could make it a little squirrely as you're really starting to slow down. Possibly could get it sideways a lot easier than you would expect at a track like Homestead.
Yeah, that brake bias, I mean, it's a useful tool, right? I mean, from what you said, talking to the drivers, some of them liking a bit lower in this race, but you know, the negative to that is exactly what you're talking about, is the lower that is, the more that car is going to be a handful when you get on the brake super hard. So you know, if you have been able to practice that during that practice here before the start of the race, you know, you might feel a little bit more comfortable. But if you weren't able to get a lot of practice in for that, this could be a really difficult challenge to build yourself up to. And again, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, with seeing no caution so far in this race, I mean, you just got to assume that we're going to go green for a good portion of tonight's race, if not the whole way through. And that could be a game changer for some of these drivers. Like we mentioned, we'll have to watch out for that 79 after the troubles that he had last week. Also, if you're Tommy Wynn, I mean, I think you might be the only driver who might be able to take it a bit easy when coming down pit road, building over a 1.7 second race lead so far here. You don't want to be too conservative, but you also, if you've got that big of a lead, you can afford to maybe give up a little bit more just to make sure that you get on pit road as clean as safe as possible.
Yeah, and then the other thing is don't speed. I mean, but the pit speed here is 50, so it's pretty high compared to some of the others, so it's not going to be as bad as others, and then your commitment line isn't as brutal as a lot of other places too. So we'll be seeing them come down pit road in the next few laps or so. Maybe see some people coming in early, but the other thing is going to be that tire wear. Like, whenever I ran about 20 laps, I was pretty close to halfway wearing out the tires, but I was also running a bit of a dumb setup, as they would probably tell me there. But it was... Oh, and here we already see Ryan Godfrey coming down into the pits, and that's going to start our pit cycling here tonight at Homestead. But yeah, like, it's going to be a factor of how easy it's going to be on entry with those worn out tires, and if it's really, really low, it could be risky. And here comes Tommy Wynn for his pit, and he gets down to the apron safely, and he is smooth right down there, and Sam Boutwell will follow him down into the pits along with Brandon Hinton.
Yeah, what a nice entry there for Tommy Wynn. Not giving up too much time, but also having that car kept under control. You see the 88 in front, he's off and away. We also had Todd Bront be one of those drivers to make their first stop of the night, be one of those first takers. So as these drivers come into their stall, you'll see the right sides going up, and then they move over to the left side for what would be a scheduled 4-tire and fuel pit stop. This will be a close race, I think, between the top two. Tommy Wynn off and away, and boy, almost got Sam Boutwell right there.
That was pretty squirrely on the exit, but Tommy's gonna be able to hold that lead, but can he hold it up as they come into 3 and 4 there? Well, cold tires possibly have a factor, as Sam Boutwell's already just gonna challenge him right there, getting hard on the gas as they're side by side going into 3 and 4, but Tommy's gonna have that run from the outside. But will the cold tires hold on, or is he going to dive into it a little bit? Yeah, he'll cross right over and get right underneath Boutwell, but Boutwell will clear him with that run off of a little bit higher off at the top. And we'll move back over, and Judson Curtis is now currently holding the lead with Jordan Tross less than a tenth behind them. They're probably going to play a little conservatively, not battle too hard, but Burt is also in Tross's rearview mirror right there, possibly wanting to gain a little bit of an advantage before they come into pit, but we'll just have to see as this race keeps progressing on.
Yeah, and you know, the thing that I will say is we did see Tommy Wynn really start to gain that speed about 20-ish laps into the run is really when Tommy Wynn came alive and Sam started to fall off. So, you know, that probably being something to watch out for as well is does Tommy Wynn, does he have something on these short runs in case we get a caution late in this race to where he, you know, if he has the opportunity of going for the win, does he have enough in that race car to make it work on a short run? We already see him be super great here on the long runs. Just can you balance that out if we get a caution? I think that 71 is probably going to hope for this race to go green all the way. And two drivers who are out at the front right now leading the way, Curtis Tross. Both, I think these drivers both saving a little bit of extra fuel there under that run, which is why they're able to go a little bit further as you see them continue to work their way around this racetrack. As Jonathan Burt back behind him in third, he'll peel off and come down to pit road this time by. So the two up at the front still have yet to make their scheduled green flag pit stop of the night.
Yeah, and I was noticing the race length, the way it's supposed to be. I mean, Tommy might have hit it a little bit earlier. He would have to possibly save some fuel later on in this run and the next one, as it's 135 laps. He came in right around lap 40. So that'll be something that, especially these two up front right now, are probably looking at and saying, like, man, we should really save a few more laps worth of fuel to make sure that we make it to the end. Maybe try and just go for 2 stops right here and hope that the tires last long enough. As you see him keep running the bottom, and that will save a lot of fuel in the long run here.
Yeah, every lap that you can save out on track means less time to spend on pit road. And now you'll see the 29 of Judson Curtis. He'll peel off and come down to make his first green flag pit stop of the night. Looks like that'll be an easy entry for him. No issues there, so that'll give the race lead up to the 79. And now he will continue to work himself around here, and not quite sure how much further he can go. We know that he can save a decent amount of fuel under green. It's just how much further can this 79 go out there? That's the real question, and I think teams are probably going to wonder that as well and try and see what this 79 was able to do under green flag conditions with saving maybe a bit more fuel than the rest of these guys.
Yeah, and another thing I'm seeing right now is, well, until Judson Curtis got lapped there, the Allen Motorsports had a 1-2-3 right there. I was going to say, some of them might have been playing fuel chicken, but Cross could probably hit here in the coming. Yeah, I think he's probably going to be about to pit. David Brzezinski already pitting right here too. I think Jordan's going to be coming right now or in the next lap. Oh yeah, here he comes right there. Ooh, a little swirly right there, but he makes it down and safely on the pit road there. And that will cycle Sam Boutwell back into P1 and with his nose into the wind as we keep it as we go on to lap 49 in this race.
Yeah, so Jordan will come down, make his pit stop. He'll give up the race lead like you mentioned just a second ago. Those guys going to get the right sides on now, going over to the left side. In just a moment, you'll see the 51 work on by with Tommy Wynn to his inside. So Tommy Wynn has not gone away and challenging for the race lead once again. Working the inside lane. Sam pitching him down there on the inside lane. Almost a bit of contact. Tommy has to get out the throttle just a bit after looking what he could have potentially gotten a bit tight there. Went on the door of the 51, but he'll search a bit higher here in 3 and 4 and try and build up another good run to make a move down this front straightaway into 1 and 2. Will he be close enough this time? By and 1. Sits back by half car length. Still right there waiting in the wind. Tommy Wynn. So quick here tonight, looking to collect what could be a very good win for him and that team after having a rough couple of weeks here in all of the Ratfink Racing League Series. He's been unfortunately caught up in a lot of wrecks, and right now looking to make a point here tonight.
Oh, come on now. It's not been that rough. I've been helping him whenever Tommy's had bad luck, but there's actually a reason why we call ourselves the Bad News Bears sometimes. We'll have good runs and then just something falls apart, but thankfully, like, a lot of these teams, you also see, they have a lot of depth to them where if one person messes up, somebody else will fill in that spot and kind of put the team on their shoulders. As we see, Tommy's still working over Sam Boutwell, looking for a little bit of a high run, maybe looking at a crossover. I think Dirty Air is playing a little bit of a factor there. Like, Tommy is sitting in a no man's land right there. He needs to get a little bit higher if he wants to have a chance to pass, I would think. So he's not getting too arrow washed right there. But he'll settle back in, back behind him. But Brandon Hinton is also coming up pretty quickly and approaching both of these drivers and could sneak in and surprise both of them here in a few laps.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see these next couple of laps. See these three drivers here under a 1 second blanket over one another as Tommy Wynn continues to try and find a way around Sam for the race lead. Although we're going to go ahead and step away real quick for our first side-by-side break of the night here. Don't go anywhere though, you'll be kept up with it all as you're watching the Ratfink Racing Godsby Arca Series live from Homestead-Miami Speedway. We'll be right back with you guys in just a moment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We're gonna play chess while all these other boys are playing checkers.
Let's get as many points as we can. It all starts right here. Are you ready?
And the green flag is in the air. Here they come, storming to turn one. This is incredible! Can he get it done?
The grandstands are going wild.
They're crashing mid-cat. Checkered flag is out.
What a finish, boys.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ratfink Racing League Godsby Arca Series, live from Homestead-Miami Speedway. I'm Oscar Jensen, joined up by Cameron Goley here in the booth tonight. And Cameron, boy, things are getting heated up here for first and second. You see Burt and Hinton, those two have caught up to win for that second spot, as Wynn has been trying to work himself for that top spot, but boy, this is getting crazy up towards the front.
Yeah, we were watching during commercial. Hinton was starting to move his way up, and then Burt also works his way into the picture. Burt makes his way easily around Hinton right there, and he was going to start trying to focus on getting around Wynn and probably get some distance between these guys so he can probably try to put a cloud on Sam Boutwell out front. But Hinton's going to try and send it low, trying to get with Jonathan Burt as they go side by side, coming off the turn 2 onto the back straightaway. And we'll see what they can do coming into turn 3.
And this just allows Tommy Wynn to kind of settle into probably a more comfortable spot, not really having to be on too much of defense like he was a couple of laps ago, as they battle it out behind him. When, you know, we thought maybe was going to have a chance there to get the race lead, and then, like you mentioned, maybe dealing with a lot of dirty air there, just not being able to complete a move and set up a pass for the race lead. So that allows Sam to remain up at the top spot. You see a slower car in front of them that they will be going to have to work around here. Oh no!
Oh,
Is that Tommy Wynn?
Yes, it is. Oh, Tommy Wynn loses it out of 4 and hits the wall hard. Caution will not come out, but that right front is very messed up. He pancaked that wall really hard. That car may very well be done, if not at least several minutes worth of repairs. I don't know what happened there, but that's a very, very bad end to Tommy Wynn's night.
Yeah, Tommy having I'm not quite sure what happened either. They're coming off of turn number 4. Had looked like what was going to be a pretty standard corner. Then that car just took off, going right up the racetrack in a very hard hit. You see the damage as we watched him there, what it did to that right side of the race car. Now that moves Jonathan Burt up to 2nd, Brandon Hinton up into 3rd, and Tommy Wynn working around out on the racetrack to come down to pit road. And we'll have to take a look at it here, but boy, that's a tough one right there for Tommy Wynn. He was looking so good and so strong here tonight. He, with the issues here, will have to spend some time on pit road getting that checked out and fixed.
Yeah, and I've already messaged him, so I'll probably be figuring out what happened here in a minute with him, but we'll go back to the front of the pack, and Burt has another lap car of Victor Etheridge right there to pass, but also has Brandon Hinton behind him, and they're going to have a little bit of a scramble right here, because I think Hinton knows he's got a pretty fast car tonight, wanted to run it pretty conservatively early, but he's really picking up the pace as we get around the halfway point of the night. But we'll see what happens when they catch up to Victor Etheridge, and Boutwell is kind of enjoying what he's seeing in his rearview mirror and is just driving away from the other two.
All right, well, let's go back and see what happened to Tommy Wynn here, coming off of turn number 4 just a few laps ago. Go right on board here. Looks like a standard entry to 3 ends.
Oh, he got on the throttle too early, and then was trying to correct it, and then it hooked up and slammed the wall pretty good right there.
Yeah, it stepped out, like you mentioned, when trying to get on the throttle, and you'll start to see it just slide out right about here. Goes to correct, and just nothing really that Wynn could have done at that point except for hanging on. And that's going to be a decent lick to that outside wall. Again, taking him out of probably contention of this race, as he will be 4 laps down here as we sit under a green flag. So Tommy Wynn, who was having such a strong night up until this point, now finds himself, unfortunately, in the pits with issues.
And getting a word from our pit reporter, Tommy is done for the night. A very unfortunate situation. He said he just overdrove it a little too much and got loose, and it just hooked up at the worst possible time. But we'll come back up here and be looking at the battle for second. Hinton got his way around Jonathan Burt, and they are slowly starting to pull in Sam Boutwell, but also don't count out the current holder of the fastest lap, Jordan Tross. He is about just under 5 seconds back, but he is probably going to be looking at a way to hunt these 3 drivers down in front of him. Judson Curtis also sitting behind him, with Brian Sousa a little bit further back.
Yeah, Sam Boutwell able to do a great job with the race lead here, holding off what was Tommy Wynn in second, but now holding off Brandon Hinton, Jonathan Burt, second and third, and pulling away. He's got about a 1.5 race lead over the field, continuing to just do what he needs to do as well. And a bit of a bobble right there down the back straightaway. Not sure if maybe he hit one of those bumps, but that was a bit of a twitch there down that back straightaway, but didn't lose too much time there. And with the clean air and the race lead, really just needs to continue to settle in and doing what he's doing all so far here tonight. He'll have really no pressure from behind for the moment. Like you mentioned, Jordan setting down some really good laps. He has the fastest lap of the race as of right now, and actually it proves to be just a bit quicker than the 3 in front of him. So this 79 will definitely be one to watch here before this race is all said and done.
Oh, absolutely. Like, anytime Jordan's on track, like, you can never count him out just from the way he runs. I mean, another person you usually not count out. I mean, we'll go back and see how P11's doing. Tom Ringer, like, he's not having the best race of the night tonight. He's sitting back there at 11th and down a little bit from Mark Holloway and then Chuck Burley. Like, 3 of the Rat Fink Racing guys just not having the best night tonight, as I've been seeing. But they could be hoping for a caution or something, because that's usually when these guys will catch you by surprise. That's one thing for sure. But we can see him. Tom Ringer's close to going a lap down. Sam Boutwell is going to be starting to deal with lap traffic here in the coming few laps, and we'll see if that'll be something that Brandon Hinton and Jonathan Burt are going to be looking to see if they can possibly catch up to him.
Yeah, lap traffic, we haven't seen much of it tonight, but it will be a factor here in these next couple laps. At least 2 drivers in risk of going a lap down. I think the first driver there is the 57 of Robert Walton, right and directly in front. Then, like you mentioned, Tom Ringer in front of him. Mark Holloway not too far up in front of them as well. So as these guys continue to click on laps and possibly closing in on another pit stop, some of these drivers in jeopardy of going either their first lap down or multiple laps.
And then we'll see the other factor is we might see some of these guys are going to be stretching out this second pit stop a little bit more, as some of them might have been looking at stretching it like 40, 80, 120, but then that would be 3 stops. Some of these guys are really going to have to stretch it a good amount to make it a 2-stop race, and a lot of drivers, I think, are thinking about that and are looking to see that you might need to take 2 stops to be in contention for that win, or some of them that pitted a little bit early, they could be at a huge disadvantage here as we're approaching lap 79. And Hinton and Burt, I mean, Hinton's gained a little bit of ground over Burt right there, but Hinton is looking at closing in on Sam Boutwell, but Hinton was saving quite a bit of fuel on that last run, so we could see if he could possibly overcut him as Boutwell jumps onto pit road. He would most likely have to take another pit stop before this race is over.
Yeah, Sam will get on a pit road pretty clean, pretty easily. That'll pass the race lead now to Brandon Hinton. Jonathan Burton will cycle up into second. So as they continue around, we'll have to see how much further Hinton and Burt can go. We know Jordan and Judson back in 3rd and 4th. Those 2 stayed out longer than the rest of the field that last pit stop, but the question is going to be, can they do the same here again on this stop? And well, Brandon Hinton now will work himself down to pit road, so Jonathan Burt will now take the race lead away.
Yeah, and a lot of these drivers might have been running out a little bit early because they were battling pretty hard on that outside lane, and outside line will cost you quite a bit on fuel. Burt might have been playing it safe, just trying to find a way to keep on that bottom line and just be able to save fuel, which could prove crucial. It might be a huge gamble to take, because especially with tires wearing down fairly fast at a track like Homestead with a pretty abrasive surface for tires like these. But this is a part of the race where the best drivers will rise up to the top. As our top 3 right now, Burt, Tross, and Judson Curtis here, all are race winners in RFRL, and Sousa also working his way up into the top 5 with David Bersecki a ways behind, 10 seconds at least
And again, we're going to see drivers start to go down here with the lead lap drivers currently remaining or going down to 6th right now. Tom Ringer, the last of those drivers. So, as pit stops continue to go around, you'll have to watch out for that. Again, we've seen this race go green flag racing so far here, but any sort of a moment in this pit strategy could really throw a wrench in how this race plays out, with so many of these drivers being trapped a lap down, although I don't really see a lot of these guys being close together. Majority of the field right now is pretty spread out. I mean, yeah, you do have some guys that are close together, but it's not like there's a big group of drivers on top of each other. So, still waiting for things to cycle out here, and we'll see which one of these drivers has played the right strategy card and who can make it the furthest and not have to worry about fuel for this last run coming up.
Yeah, and I bet a lot of the top 5 right now is most likely playing a little bit of a game of fuel chicken, seeing who will come down first. And others, maybe people like Judson Curtis or David Bersecki, probably wanting to stay out a little bit longer, wanting to get a bonus point, lead a lap out there. But there's going to be a lot of these guys that'll want to try to stay out as long as possible, but then you would think, like, having more worn out tires, they can gain an advantage on you. So it'll be a factor of who can undercut or overcut the best as Jonathan Burt comes up on Tom Ringer for some lap traffic, and that could bring Jordan Tross up to him, as he's been gaining a lot of ground on him these past few laps. He's down within a second, really starting to put the pressure on Jonathan Burt here, with Judson Curtis not too awful far behind him. This could be a 3-way battle for the win as we progress through this race.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to go back to one thing there. This is a little bit surprising to see Tom Ringer go down a lap here, as you see 3 wide there for a moment, as Burt, he's slow on the back straightaway. Not sure if maybe he's just giving room to let those guys go on by, but he also might be a little bit shy when trying to work it back around. You see him still continue to be slow there on the bottom of 3 and 4. Now looks like he'll get that car pointed onto pit road, but a little surprising to see him slow up that early on.
He might have ran out of fuel, and he was a little swirly coming onto pit road. He might have been trying to save some speed.
Yeah, definitely one of those things where, when your car is low on fuel, it'll be a handful, especially like we mentioned with those brake bias already so low inside the cockpit. You got a lot of factors that form into when coming down pit road, and Jordan continuing to stay out here. He is going to lead the way for another lap. This will make it 2 laps in a row once he completes this, since taking the race lead away from Jonathan Burt there. Sorry, yeah, I don't know why I was blanking on his name. Jonathan Burt there in the 11, and Judson Curtis still out with him. Those two pretty much on the same strategy, although Curtis finds himself just about a second back. So the 2 cars that we know have saved the most fuel, they're going to continue to go around a little bit extra longer, and again, possibly seeing them needing to pit in the next 5 laps, but it'll be pretty interesting to see how much further they can go and stretch this fuel window out.
I think they are right there on that window of getting to the finish. I mean, we're coming up on lap 90 here, and that'll put it right at 45 to go. That is like right at the very top end of that fuel window. We can see if Jordan and Judson did stretch that first run quite a ways, and they might be able to get it just far enough to basically be the class of the field right here. Judson slowing up quite a bit, might be stretching out a little more, might have had to use a little bit more fuel than he wanted to earlier on in the run to advance as many spots as he did to be in be right behind Tross, but I believe he just went onto pit road right here, so that leaves Jordan Tross as one of the last people that needs to pit.
Yeah, Judson Curtis working himself down pit road here after getting on the pit road clean. He looks like he'll have a nice, easy stop into his pit stall. They'll work on the right sides again, taking 4 tires here, and then they will be off and away here once they go over to the left side. So now working the left sides, Judson Curtis, his service will be complete, and again, still waiting on the 79 to work himself. He surprisingly stays out another lap, so Jordan, the fuel saver, stretching this one out pretty far. Currently only seeing 4 drivers. Yeah, I think that's Tom Ringer behind him. Currently seeing, though, 4 drivers out on the lead lap, and again, still no caution here tonight, and looking to take this thing from green to checkered flag without any incidents out there tonight.
I believe that was Robert Walton that got loose and into the wall there. Probably had the same issue where he was trying to correct it back in and it just slammed up into the wall. He's still running pretty good right now. Might not have pancaked it as hard as Tommy did earlier, but we can see Jonathan Burt back there already gaining quite a bit of ground as the new tires proving quite an advantage here as we see Judson working his way around Brian Sousa right here. This is currently 4th position. That'll be moved to get up into into P6 right there. And as we look at it right now, like, oh, and did Tross just pit? No, it's David Brzezinski that just pit. Tross is also on pit road.
Yeah, Jordan, our race leader, he'll work himself down on the pit road. You see the 92 there exiting his stall after getting his service complete. So Jordan and David, those two, some of the last drivers to take their service. That'll now cycle out the race lead back to Sam Boutwell in the 51. Brandon Hinton will be right on his back bumper and within striking distance of taking the race lead if he can put together some decent laps, although we've already seen it be a bit harder to try and make a pass here. So can Brandon Hinton find a way around Sam for the top spot?
Yeah, and I think Brandon will be looking at that. I mean, he was keeping his car down low, staying out of the wake. That will be a factor in washing you up the track a little bit. Yeah, you can see him peeking his car down low, getting some of that clean air. Boutwell moving down a little bit, so probably noticing that Hinton's been getting a pretty decent run out of the last 2 quarters. Because of that, as we see these 2 battle for the lead, David Brzezinski right up behind him, the last car on the lead lap right now. Jordan Tross is going to be pretty close behind him too. We'll see if he'll probably fly his way around. Brandon Hinton washes up a little bit right there, trying to possibly look at running the top line now, see if he can get a little bit of a better run. And yeah, he washed up a little bit right there, I think, from that aero wash. We'll just see how good of a run he gets out of turn 2, and we'll, as we continue with this race, I mean, we know Boutwell will have to really stretch his fuel out now if he even wants a chance at winning.
Yes, that'll be the question in hand, is how many of these guys have been able to play this fuel strategy through. You hear a lot of these drivers starting to coast on the entry to 1. Right now, though, the speed's still relatively the same for our top 2. Jordan, who has been able to stretch it out the longest, trying to make it all the way to the end. We're going to go ahead and take our last side-by-side break here on tonight's race. Don't go anywhere, though. We'll keep the action right here with you guys as we will be back in just a moment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We're gonna play chess while all these other boys are playing checkers.
Let's get as many points as we can. It all starts right here. Be ready?
And the green flag is in the air. Here they come, storming to turn one. This is incredible! Can he get it done?
The grandstands are going wild.
They're crashing mid-track. Checkered flag is out.
What a finish, boys.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ratfink Racing League Godsby Arca Series, live from Homestead-Miami Speedway. We saw it under side-by-side there. Brandon Hinton got his way around for the race, leading now, putting up a bit of a gap between him and Sam Boutwell in second, as we will now come around to 30 laps to go. So Brandon Hinton, you know, looking strong here, but the question is, does that team have enough fuel to where they can make it around these last 30 laps? The answer, probably not, but they will, maybe if they get a lucky break, a lucky caution, they could remain in a sort of a good spot here and remain up at the front. But with seeing this race go green so far here tonight, it's looking like a tough situation for our top two drivers.
Yeah, and they gotta be paying attention because P3 and P4 and P5, all three of those guys ran very late in their run, and they're all chomping at the bit, really starting to close that gap as those fresher tires really start to play a factor in right here. Like, you can tell, like, yeah, there's almost a good 10-lap gap between, there's more than 10 laps between Hinton and Boutwell's pit and Jordan Tross's last pit. And yeah, there's going to be, they're definitely going to be right there, especially before this race is over. But we definitely need to keep an eye on around 15 to go if these two are going to have to pit, or however long they can stretch out this fuel.
Yeah, still probably have at least 10 to probably about 13, 14 laps before we would see them start to hit the panic button. But as we take a look at our race recap so far on the light, current race leader gonna be Brandon Hinton, like we talked about. He has actually not really pulled away from Sam Boutwell too much. Sam's actually closed that gap a little bit more that last lap, but 108 out of 135 laps completed so far. No cautions, like I mentioned. 9 lead changes, which has really been brought through majority of pit road cycles, and we've seen a few lead changes under green. Again, Tommy Wynn leading a couple of those laps, but unfortunately finding himself out on the night. Most laps goes to the driver of the 51. And then our fastest lap right now goes to Carlos there in the number 2, which actually finds himself still really trying to hope for some lucky breaks. And well, Cameron, here we go, our first taker.
Yeah, I mean, it was going to be inevitable. Like, it would have put him at much more of a disadvantage if he pitted any later. I bet we will see Boutwell possibly come in probably in the next few laps. Mark Holloway also making a pit stop right here, along with Robert Walton. Quite a few of these guys didn't play the strategy card right this time, but fuel races are always a gamble, and some people roll the dice, and they'll roll snake eyes, and we can tell quite a few people tonight have rolled snake eyes, as we can see.
I was going to wonder if anybody wanted
to
take 2. Yeah, that was a little bit quick. Doesn't look like there's any penalty, though. But, oh, a caution out on the racetrack, actually.
Whoa!
Looks like it's the 57 slow in the back straightaway.
Yeah, we'd have to... Yeah, there's smoke back there out of turn 2. That is the last thing a lot of these guys wanted to see. I mean, Jordan Truss and Jonathan Burt probably not too happy. They had this fuel mileage race in the bag to battle out between themselves, but this will bring several other people into the conversation, but also a big sigh of relief for Tom Ringer, who will put himself back on the lead lap. Might have played this game pretty well. We could possibly see him be in the top 5 at the checkered flag.
Yeah, definitely not what you want to see if they're the 79 or the 29 either. Jonathan Burt, though, going to get a little bit of a lucky break. He was kind of on the same strategy as that 51 and that 5, but now you'll see the field to work it down on the pit road here, expecting everybody to probably take 4 tires and full set of fuel. We'll see if anybody tries to gamble in taking 2, but Jordan will lead them into their box. He'll come to a stop. You'll see Judson Curtis coming to a stop right in front of him. Looks like they'll work to the right sides. Will they go with the 4 tires in total? 79 looks like he will. Will anybody else decide to take the 4 as well, or where they gamble? It looks like a majority of these guys will all take 4, so no 2 tire stops here.
Yeah, that was interesting because Sam had just pit. Either that or he ran straight through the pits as a caution came out. But him and Brandon Hinton have got to be the luckiest guys on this track right now, because they would have definitely been a lap down if that caution did not come out for sure. As we look at David Brzezinski here catching up to the rest of the pack, he will be the leader of this race. And I think we'll come to our restart.
I think he might have actually taken 2 right there. We'll take a look back at it real quick as we see him. Did he? No, it looks like he just missed his box. So actually...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oops, sorry about that. Pressed the wrong button. But yeah, it looks like he missed his box and just cruised down pit road. But let's go back and actually take a look at that incident there, which we believe involved the 57. Again, not quite positive, but that looks to be the slower car out there on the track.
Oh, just sent it way too hard, maybe. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Robert, you know, just maybe getting a little bit too much there when coming off of pit road, loses the traction under his car, and you'll see going over those bumps, really just that in the mix of cold tires, just no grip out there to keep that thing straightened out. And even though it was off the racing surface, the iRacing sort of official triggered that as being a caution. So that's what's going to bring out our first caution of the night. Not really anything heavily involving any drivers out there, just a little spin there going down the back straightaway after coming out of pit road.
Yeah, and pace car lights are off. There's a lot of people still catching back up as we approach the restart zone, and David Brasicki, Jordan Tross, Sam Boutwell, and Judson Curtis are going to be our top 4. David Brasicki really getting a good run out of the chute, and he will go 3 wide with his teammates Judson Curtis and Jordan Tross on either side of him. Sam Boutwell also with a very lucky break there, putting his nose into that battle. Oh, there's a big wreck right there coming off. Their caution flag will come out. Brandon Hinton taking a big hit, and there's still more hits. Someone flipped their car on the back straightaway there. I would be very unhappy to know who that would be that just got slammed into on their quarter panel.
Yeah, big wreck here, working down the back straightaway, catching a good amount of the field. It started up towards the front between the 92 going into that outside wall. Not quite sure if Jordan had a piece of that when working himself off.
I think that was the
2.
92 and 29 getting into each other, just bumped into the back bumper at the wrong spot coming off of that turn. Really upset the car. There is going to be a lot of people coming down pit road after that. I saw at least half a dozen cars get involved in that incident.
Yeah, a lot of drivers there getting collected. A lot of people will, like you said, Cam, will be on pit road and spend an extended time here as they have a lot to fix. And boy, we have a lot to look at here as well as let's take a look at this replay and get things started here.
Looks like Robert Walton missed his pit box there. Oh, Boutwell just got his nose right into... Oh, that is a rough wreck right there as we see him. Yeah, wow, that was Walton getting a really bad piece of it. And just, that was the wrong place, wrong time, as a lot of people would say for an incident like that.
Yeah, running on board here with Mark Holloway, who just had nowhere to go. They just got together they got together there in front of him. And again, yeah, we'll see the 51 here. Oh, looks like maybe David got a bit loose there on the bottom, which allowed Sam to close in.
Boutwell really got into him when he was probably struggling with his car. And golly, that's a Talladega-style crash right there. You usually don't see big ones at a track like this, but we definitely saw one tonight.
And boy, look at that hard hit from the 29 of Judson Curtis. Brandon Hinton as well getting tagged a bunch of times there as he wrecked.
And he also caught the inside wall hard.
Yeah, definitely a hard couple
I think
hits
Brandon
there.
Hinton caught that inside slant that ping-ponged him back out. Yeah, let's see. Oh, yeah, he definitely caught that spot in the wall where it was angled, and it just sent him right back out, and it just collected several others right there. Just the worst possible spot. Like, he's got to really be feeling that in his arms with an impact like that.
Yeah, definitely a very hard hit there for the 5 of Brandon Hinton. Actually, multiple hits as well as the 29 of Judson Curtis, who went over on his side there down the back straightaway for a bit. And boy, Cameron, that took a lot of the field here. Really, half of these drivers now remain without any physical damage to the race car.
Yeah, this is going to be a really interesting race now. Acosta managed to get one of his 3 laps back, but as we see here, like, pace lights are off. We're going to have Sam Boutwell in P2 right here. Jordan Trosson starting on the inside, and then we got Todd Perron making his way back up into that top 5. And Jonathan Burt starting on the inside, and Tom Ringer sneaking his way back up into this conversation as we get into the restart zone, and Jordan Tross takes off like a bullet. Sam Boutwell following close behind. Jonathan Burt getting a little bump from Tom Ringer there. as they get going straight into turn 1 and into turn 2 onto the back straightaway.
Yeah, good start there for Jordan in the 79, who launches out in front. Sam Boutwell finds himself not too far behind. Again, the most laps led goes to that driver in the 51. 16 laps to go this time by. It's gonna be Jordan at the front, Sam chasing behind, Jonathan Burke trying to collect win at number 6 of the season back there in third, and Todd Perrott and Tom Ringer, those guys find themselves battling for that 4th position right behind Jonathan Bird. And then, well, everybody else behind him really having a bit of damage from that big wreck. But here we go. Back up to the race lead. Here comes Sam Boutwell on the top side, trying to get some momentum built off it forward. Will he be able to make it stick? Not quite. Jordan clears. 15 laps to go now. Sam Boutwell trying to get himself back up into position number 1 and collect the race win here tonight, but he's got that fast 79 machine in front of him that he needs to chase down first.
Yeah, and don't factor out Jonathan Burt here either. Like, he's kind of lagging back, but he is typically a bit on the long run, and he also just set the fastest lap of the race. So you know he's going to be a factor. He's desperately wanting to get a 6th win on the season and pad his points lead. And you can never count out Tom Ringer, Mr. Consistency in this league. And we see Boutwell kind of losing a little bit, losing a little bit of advantage as Jonathan Burton really starting to close in a little bit more. Just had to get the car underneath him and really starting to close in on these 2 in front of him as we can see them all running that bottom line. Nobody really wanted to run the top yet as we come on forward and onto the front stretch with 13 laps to go.
These laps clicking down, and these 3 know it. They want to be able to make themselves the top driver in collecting the checkered flag. Here comes Todd Perron as well. He makes a move down to the inside of Jonathan Burt as they head into 3 and 4. He sends it in deep. He'll have to wash up. Oh, he has to get out the throttle there. Not able to complete the pass. So Todd Perron going for position number 3. Not able to make it stick. He'll lose that momentum and have to slot right in behind Jonathan Burt again. But look at Todd Perron go. He's working that high side, going where these 3 drivers in front of him won't go, trying to make this a 4-horse battle for the race lead.
Yeah, Todd Perron really riding the edge of that wall right there, trying his best to get a good run, as you could throw a blanket over the top 4 right now. Tom Ringer a second back from these 4, but like I said, really don't count him out. Tom Ringer's one of the long run people. Jordan Tross is also feeling the heat from Sam Boutwell here, who has yet to win a race in any of the RFRL series. Really wanting to find a way to collect his first win in this league, but he is really surrounded by some of the top talent, and he will have to pay his dues here if he wants to take home that checkered flag.
Jordan snaking down the back stretch there that time. A little bit of snaking as well, working down the front stretch, just trying to not give any advantage to that driver in the 51. Boutwell trying to close in, and that gap remaining the 2-car length gap. And then right behind him as well, another 2-car length gap from Boutwell to Jonathan Burt. So, I mean, these 3 are pretty spread evenly. Todd Perront trying to make some noise there. A few laps to go, now falling off just a bit. And again, more snaking from Jordan for the top spot. Just trying to hang on to this thing as we get 9 laps to go right there at the Lion Boy. Here comes the 79 working that high side. He decides that low line is not going to be enough to hang on for the race win, and works himself there high in 1 and 2. What does he do here in 3 and 4? Looks like he'll run low. So a little bit of a mix-up there into turn 1 and 2, as we now will come back around to see 8 laps to go.
Yeah, Jordan trying to play a little bit of mind games with Sam Boutwell, trying to throw him off guard on if he'll run low or high. He'll really start to really working down low, getting as slow as he possibly can to prevent Boutwell from getting any clean air underneath him. Boutwell getting a little loose right there out of 2, and Jordan's just going to send it straight down into 3 and 4, running a bit of the mid lane, and then just really coming down and kind of getting a little bit lower than Boutwell is, but starting to really flip up higher as we're crossing the start-finish line. 7 laps to go. Jordan has really worked a half-second lead. Will send it up high into 1 and 2. Boutwell will paint the line on and come up and try and catch some of that draft.
Yes, Sam Boutwell knows that these laps are clicking down. The chances of him being able to capitalize off of what has been a great night so far are coming to a close. He sees that 79 right in front of him, right in striking distance. He just needs to close down a little bit more to be able to make a move for that race lead. In that lap, he was a bit slower. So Sam Boutwell, slide right there.
Really bad right there.
Yeah, just barely got that outside wall with the right rear. That'll cost him a bit of more time for that driver in the 51. And the mistakes here, you don't want to have to come down to having to make a near perfect last couple of laps. And right now, he's kind of putting himself in that position with these mistakes these past couple of laps. At this point, with under 5 laps to go, Boutwell needs to be perfect from here on out if he wants to close down that gap from him to Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan's really starting to pull away here. As you can see, the gap even to Burt is extending a bit. Boutwell making a costly mistake right there, but starting to gain a little bit of it back. He is a bit faster out of 3 and 4 than Jordan Cross is, but Jordan Cross is faster in 1 and 2. Jonathan Burt just kind of hanging around in the same consistent spot. Todd Perrant about a second behind him, with Tom Ringer also starting to be a factor for Todd Perrant to hold on to that 4th spot. And then we got White Lightning a little bit ways behind. And then looking through the rest of the field that's left, we got Sousa up in 7th, Burley in 8th, Carlos Acosta in 9th, getting a pretty decent finish after his costly mistake at the start of the race.
Yeah, I was going to say Acosta really, needed a few more cautions to get himself back into this race on the lead lap. But, he sits 1 lap down and really just able to make up all that ground from, 2 laps down. He really just has been able to make up all of that ground from that big wreck that happened here under our last caution at lap 116. And boy, as we come around, that would be probably, just one of those things, or those examples where it shows the race isn't over until it's over, and you need to be able to stick around, and you never know what's going to happen. And again, we still have 2 laps to go here tonight, and that race lead, it shrunk down just a bit that last lap. Not enough, though, for Sam Boutwell to really be in striking distance, but it's still not really growing to be too big. As this time by, Jordan will work himself through 3 and 4, right up against that outside wall, and he will see the white flag as he comes down the front straightaway.
Yeah, white flag is out. This is the bell lap, and Jordan has pulled up almost a 0.6 of a second lead on Boutwell. Boutwell really sent it in deep as a last effort move to see if he has anything. Look for him to really send it in on 3 and 4. Jordan really just pulling away right here. Let's see. He's going to really send it in, making up a little bit, but just probably going to concede and just hold on to second place as Jordan comes off of turn 4, sees that checkered flag, and he will collect another win in the Godsby Arca series, with Boutwell coming a close second and Jonathan Burt coming home a satisfying 3rd.
Yeah, great drive there by Jordan to be able to collect another win here on the season. So fast here tonight. He played the strategy out right, found himself up at the front at the end and hung on to it. A great effort, though, by Sam Boutwell and Jonathan Burt. Those two will be second as 3rd, as now Jordan will come around to the start-finish line, and he will celebrate here at Homestead-Miami Speedway.
Oh yeah, and that was a clinic he put on. We thought he was gonna have quite a battle, and he did after those after that first caution. The second caution really threw a wrench in it all. I thought we were gonna have a really exciting race, but after that second caution, it took out a good amount of the contenders there. But a really well-earned win for Jordan there after all of that strategy getting thrown out the window.
Well, he's going to go ahead and continue with his victory celebrations here down the front straightaway. We'll have post-race coverage starting here in just a few moments. We'll be able to hear from our race winner, as well as hopefully our second and third place drivers. And then we'll take a quick look into the next few weeks here ahead and seeing what this series has in store for us.
Yeah, as we get ready and everybody celebrates a little bit, calms down some, and gets ready for their interviews. Yeah, the next week, I believe we are going to Old Kentucky Speedway, a track that not a lot of people that are more recent to this league are used to. I mean, I've actually yet to run Kentucky in any racing game. Most of my repertoire has been in games from like the 20 years ago, but I've heard Kentucky's a lot of fun for a lot of these people.
Yeah, Legacy in Kentucky, always a wild one. I mean, it's so, the surface is so bumpy, so wild, not a lot of grip, and like you mentioned, it really hasn't been used for a good minute. So it'll be interesting to see these drivers work themselves around that racetrack next week for race number 13, and still waiting on a race winner. Let's get him up here, and
There he is.
Cameron, if you want to take it away, well, move you over to Jordan here.
Yeah, and we'll get Jordan up here into the booth. And Jordan, that race was pretty uneventful for the first little bit. You were playing the fuel strategy game perfectly until those last couple of cautions. I bet you were not wanting to see that second to last caution come out.
Yeah, I wasn't looking for either of those cautions. I mean, it was a really fun battle there between Judson and I on the fuel strategy. I was able to save a little bit more than him early, and it was looking like we were going to be able to get a 1-2 finish, and Dave was looking like he was going to get a top 5 doing the same thing. And yeah, that first caution set up for some interesting racing there at the end with the restart, and unfortunately, two of my teammates got caught up in that big one there, and I was able to just avoid that one, but it was some fun racing there at the end to the finish, and glad we could get a good finish this week.
Yeah, and thinking about it, like I knew fuel was going to be a factor, but and the tires. How was the track out there tonight? Was it really loose, really tight? Could you really just throw it anywhere you wanted? But I mean, I saw the bottom line started being the preferred line just because of saving tires and fuel.
Yeah, the bottom line was definitely better on tires than running on the long run. I was able to save like 6 laps of fuel without really losing that much time, and managed to stretch what looked like about a 40-lap fuel run to 48 laps on that first run of the race. And from there on out, I knew it was going to be the winning strategy, and just stuck to it and was hoping it would go green, but still just managed to get the track position there after that caution, and I was able to hold the lead.
Yeah, and you were really hunting those guys down after that second pit stop, and it was really just looking like you were going to be pulling away. Um, I don't really know what else to talk about with this race, but is there anybody you would like to shout out tonight?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to shout out everyone at RatFink who puts these races on. Tom, Chuck, Jacob, Sean, Todd, everyone who puts these races on. It's a lot of fun to run them each and every week, and especially Brian and John Crosby who helped set up this series here. And thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. You, Oscar, and you, Cameron, provide great commentary on these Friday races. It's always fun to watch it back. And I got to thank simfits.com, and this week on the car I got the Loosest Fast podcast. Feel free to check them out on wherever you find your podcasts.
All right, well, with that, we'll send you on your way back to Team Alloy, and we'll have Oscar take it away for our P2 finisher, Sam Boutwell.
Yeah, I'm standing here on pit road with Sam Boutwell, who had a great night for majority of it, just coming up a bit shy there at the end. Sam, most laps led, I believe, when all was said and done. Really found yourself having some decent speed, but at the end, you just weren't able to find yourself getting a chance to get around Jordan for the top spot. What do you think you needed more there on that last run to either make a shot at the race win there in those closing laps, or just in general be a little bit closer?
Well, I think in that last run, I looked at it as I had two options. Since Dirty Air was so bad, it was to either run Jordan tight and hope he makes a mistake somewhere, or to back off, let him go, and hope I run him back down. And I went with the former, just trying to stay with him, keep him honest. And Jordan's just such a good racer; he never made a mistake or anything. So I just stayed right there behind him in the dirty wake and killed the tires. I know it got so bad there probably the last 6 or 8 laps that I was turning the wheel right on the exit just to keep the car from spinning out because I was staying in the throttle so hard.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the dirty air, but also, needing to keep that car under control. This car in this series, they give you a little bit of an extra horsepower boost that you have to deal with, and it kind of changes uh, things up with how you drive. And out there tonight, I mean, uh, really, overall thoughts. I mean, you had a fast race car, but do you think maybe looking back at it, maybe having taken some strategy with 15 laps to go was anywhere in the mindset, or do you think really you need those four tires to make it work?
I think I needed the tires because I was actually on pit road when the caution came out, and I thought I had the pit strategy perfect. And of course, hindsight's 2020. I looked back at it, and I could have went ahead and made my stop and stayed on the lead lap and come out as the leader. But I avoided the pit stop and just rolled pit road. That way, I knew for a fact I wouldn't lose the lap. That ended up costing me a few position, track position there for the end, and so that's where I think it went awry for me. Obviously, there.
Yeah, definitely. Some things here. Again, iRacing unfortunately isn't as nice to us when we get the cautions and you do remain on pit road. So I know from inside the cockpit, you also kind of got to factor that into a play as well. But still, overall, a great night, and again, a second place finish. Just a little bit shy there at the end, but still a great run. And before we let you go here, debrief with the rest of your team. Is there any sponsors or any shout outs you'd like to give or thank?
I want to thank the rest of the South Shore guys. I know I had Carlos with me tonight in the race, and Dave both watching at home. Um, Got to thank the sponsors, Tom Bowling Ford, uh, where you can come get a heck of a deal. And thank you for the great broadcast. And thanks to Tom and everybody for putting on a fun league here tonight.
All right. Alrighty, Sam. Thanks for taking a moment to speak with us, and we hope to speak to you again here in one of the other series or whatever, whenever your next start will be.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
All right, that was Sam Botwell finishing in second position. Let's go ahead and pull up our third place driver, Jonathan Burt, standing by with Cameron.
Yeah, I'm here with Jonathan Byrne after P3 finish. I'll say that last caution there, that was probably quite a bit of a pucker factor there, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I was like, "Oh, go down, go down, go down, go down." I thankfully they all went up and I went down, so I made the right choice there. Got me a P3 though, so I was really excited about that.
Yeah, you had a really fast car there tonight. You set the fastest lap late in the run. I mean, you didn't exactly play the fuel strategy right. Were
Nope.
you running? Did you run out of fuel on that second pit stop there?
I almost did, yes. And then I was about 1.9 gallons short. I was just 4 laps, I think 4 or 5 laps. I just need to get better at saving in these cars and learning where to clutch and learning where to not drive as hard probably. Yeah, because Jordan and then the 29 definitely did a better job at that. But I got caught out by the got a break, and I got a benefit from it, so it was nice.
Yeah, it was yeah, Jordan and Judson for sure are absolute wizards at saving fuel there. But yeah, on that last run there, was it just the dirty air that was too much of a factor there? I mean, you did fade back a little bit, but you were still fast coming through there. But like early on in the race, like you were really making some good moves and putting yourself in the right spot. But that last run would seem tough.
Yeah, when I figured out I got in my head a little bit. I figured I wasn't gonna make it. And I kind of I usually I'm sitting there with some of my teammates. I really keep my head straight, but tonight I was by myself, so I got in my head a little bit. So I kind of slowed up. Wasn't gonna make my fuel. And I was gonna let Jordan by on the low side when he caught me, and then we both went top, and I kind of made a mistake, and we got into it a little bit there before the first yellow. But again, like no damage, no harm, no foul. So, but yeah, like I said, I definitely got bailed out hard in this one.
Oh, a ton of people got bailed out hard,
Yeah,
especially a P2 finisher there.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, and this finish, I mean, it ain't a win, but it'll still really pad out your points lead headed as we get into the back half of the regular season. How confident are you heading into Kentucky next week?
Oh, I love Kentucky. It's gonna be such a fun race. Yeah, so I feel pretty good. I think if I keep up my top fives, top threes, maybe get a couple twos or firsts, I think I'll definitely go in the championship. In the chase first. It's gonna be hard to keep up with Jordan. I'm gonna have to really practice to keep up with the. I'm on the skill level. I think I'm right behind the 29 and 79. So I think I can. I think if I get a couple lucky breaks, I can do it. But yeah, I know I'm super excited. I'm glad I have to run top three in the last two races. I love this league. It's been such a fun time.
I'm sure you're wishing every race was Phoenix at this
No,
point.
absolutely. Yep.
But yeah, with that, anybody you would like to shout out there, any sponsors or thing?
Yeah, gotta shout out my team, Texas Speed Sim Racing. My teammates Zach and Daniel. They couldn't make it out tonight, but I appreciate their support. Gotta thank you all for putting on the broadcast. I gotta thank RFRL for putting on these races. This is the best league I've ever joined. Some of the most competitive in racing with such a variety of cars. So I always love racing here. Then I always gotta thank my mom for watching all my races. Appreciate it, mom.
Alrighty, well, with that, we'll send you on your way tonight. Great job on that P3 and avoiding that heck of a wreck that we saw
Yeah,
late in this race.
absolutely. Thank you. Thanks to Cameron. Appreciate it.
Alrighty. Well, with that, Oscar, let's take it away and look forward into what we got for next week.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we go to Legacy, Kentucky Speedway next week, and then we go to North Wilkesboro's following that week. So,
Oh, that's gonna be
pretty,
fun.
yeah, pretty difficult set of tracks here coming up for some of these drivers. But let's also go quickly over our race results before we get too quick ahead.
Yeah, and once again at the top of the pylon, we got Jordan Tross with a newer guy at the top three. We got Sam Boutwell getting a very solid P2 tonight, and Jonathan Burt padding his points lead and getting a really good night in the P3 spot. Todd Perron also getting a solid night, and Tom Ringer also getting a really good points night with a top five finish. And then we got Brian Sousa scraping it together after losing his whole front, getting a good P6 out of that. White Lightning getting a solid P7. Chuck Burley getting his first top 10 in a long while. And then Carlos Acosta getting a P9, salvaging a P9 out of tonight after a very costly mistake at the start of the race. And David Perzecki rounding out your top 10.
Lloyd Tom and run one league.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
We're gonna play chess while all these other boys are playing checkers.
Let's get as many points as we can. It all starts right here. Be ready?
And the green flag is in the air. Here they come, storming to turn one.